Right, good morning TI community from the UK. Right, I'm just watching a bit of early morning TV and they're giving some health tips. And so after waking up and listening to the garbage coming out by the covert operators, it was obviously linked to UK sectors, linked to racketeering, abusing in authority, covert operators, mercenaries who've learnt the trade in the police, in the intelligence teams, cybersecurity teams, and in the armed forces Navy complex, where obviously they're all suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and can't get back to Civvy Street because they're surrounding me and my family, got OCD, all mental illnesses, and there's nothing they can do about it. Trolling me forever on social media, trying to come out with loads of TR's names, trying to say the Scotch boy. This is where we're doing the brain manipulation and trolling TI's emails and communications online, and then have other networks all over the UK who are watching other TIs doing brain manipulation and getting the TI community to have fallout because other TIs can't work out the brain manipulation. So whichever Scotch boy we're talking about in Scotland to the Bournemouth gang, yeah, and obviously watching our Zoom channels and checking our communications out. Yeah, they've all been infiltrated and they're using cybersecurity from the intelligence teams in the UK. That's why I want disclaimers. Yeah, put in on every social media site. Yeah, put on radio stations so that these cybersecurity and professional abusers in UK government and even around the world, yeah, can no longer hack our social media websites, can't hack our emails, and even if they do, they can't use them against TIs in the local community, in the local sectors, NHS, healthcare, mental health administrators, ever against this. Because what I picked up this morning, they're trying to make out TIs, myself or my mother, have got communication problems, yeah, and ain't got vocabulary skills. When reality is, these covert abusers ain't got vocabulary skills and don't know how to approach people like me. Because I'll just tell them straight to their faces and where they've gone wrong. They can't stalk people, they can't troll people, they can't listen to people 24 hours a day, yeah? And 7 days a week, month after month, 365 days a year, and then think they can make a show of them because they think they can use computer software, Wizardry editing tools to edit everything. For example, me and my mother and my family, what they've watched us for 17 years, they suddenly think they can edit it all and put it into a little short video that they can laugh about. Yeah, at weddings, at parties, and training their future gang stalkers. So that's where the covert team leader is humiliated. Yeah, him and his local families in Coventry ain't got no vocabulary skills. They don't know how to approach people like me. Because I'll just tell them straight. You broke the law, don't ever talk to me again. Yeah, I'll shove it back in their faces. Secondly, everything they're doing around TIs, they're trying to radiate to TIs, trying to give them mental and physical symptoms. So the healthcare, the NHS, the mental health, the researchers will not be able to get involved because they've caused damage to TIs. Yeah, whether it's TIs to TIs faces, to TIs teeth, to TIs eyes, to TIs nails, yeah, and to TIs skin and internal organs. Yeah, that's what they're there for. That's why they're vindictive haters. Yeah, they're corrupted, evil, lost souls who've got no dignity, no professionalism, no manners, no morals, no scruples. Yeah, and don't know how to get themselves out of the big hole they dug for themselves. That's what I've got on the senior covert team leader, is a broken, twisted, suffering from post-traumatic stress, OCD, and suffering from being isolated on covert duty. That includes all the audience members and all the healthcare, NHS, and the psychiatrists, psychologists, sociologists who are hiding behind computer screens, receiving the illegal, non-consented, criminal gotten data, information that they've got on me, my mother or my brother, and anyone else they do this targeting system to. So I'm just going to play this little clip linked to healthcare symptoms. And when they watch people like me for over 17 years, yeah, they've induced it all and used radiation, used armed forces, police, firemen, apparatus, equipment to radiate targets and to agitate them 24 hours a day, hoping they can induce something in the face, in the eyes, or try and get a voice reaction out of them. That's why they sound record targets 24 hours a day. So whoever sound recording me in the UK government, I'm letting you know, you can't use nothing against us. Yeah, you've overspent your surveillance and your criminal racketing, you're abusing, and I will throw the book at you. And no PM, no councillors, no MPs, no judge and jury is going to listen or look at any of your profile in Coventry City. You've broken your police force, you've broken the council establishment, and you've broken your degenerated armed forces boys and girls, yeah, who I've named before. You can't get back to Civil Street, who've got OCD and are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder caused by being isolated on covert duty and running around as overt operators, trying to train, trying to criminal practice and learn the arts, the skullduggery of the targeting system. And in the process, learning how to use new technologies, how to use software, how to use equipment, apparatus, devices, computers. The longer it goes on, yeah, it's a training exercise, TIs. And all the local degenerates, all the local Coventry families who are aiding and abetting the council, you've been exposed. And what I think of you, you're all degenerates. You're all thick as pig shit. You're criminals. You're lowlives. Doing that to people in your own city, in your own towns, in your own villages. You're scumbags. Saga continues. TIs.
Survey found that nearly half of UK adults ignore potentially serious health symptoms for up to 6 months. Aside from the more obvious signs like unexplained weight loss, bleeding and discovering the strange lumps, there's also some lesser known warning signs that, Rand, you say that we shouldn't ignore.
Yeah, so we're all familiar with the concept of red flag symptoms, some of which you've just mentioned there. And they are potential signs of a serious underlying illness, shouldn't be ignored, should get checked out. But there's a range of other signs that you can have that might be indicative that something is going on. And I must stress that if you've got one of these, it doesn't mean you have an underlying condition. We take it in conjunction with other symptoms, but if you are worried, you can speak to a healthcare professional about it, and they will investigate further if necessary. Right, so we're going to start with nails first of all. Nails, interestingly, can be a sign of a whole host of different things. We've got a picture of a particular condition here. That is a black line that runs along the ridge of a nail. Now, getting a black mark under a nail, a hematoma or...
And there's nothing wrong with my nails, or my mother's nails, or my brother's nails. So that's destroyed the senior covert team leader and whoever has passed his clinical close-up observation of me cutting my nails or pruning myself. Yeah, he's going to have to delete that.
Should be checked out. Now, going from a longitudinal line along the nail to a horizontal line, these pictures that we've got here, these are called Bowes lines. So these are ridges, horizontal ridges across the nail, and they're a sign of growth arrest. So they can happen if you become unwell, if you injure your nail, even if you're really, really stressed, you can get this growth arrest. They're nothing to worry about, so I wouldn't panic about that. Now moving on to spoon-shaped nails, something we call koilonychia. Interestingly, you can store a droplet of water on the top of that nail there. They are soft, they are brittle, and they can be a sign that you've got iron deficiency anemia. Also,
all be caused by covert operations that go on forever.
Which is where the liver absorbs far too much
and radiation.
from your diet. Yeah, obviously, if you're worried about these sorts of things, speak to someone.
People say that the eyes are the window to the soul. Can the eyes be an indicator of health issues?
Yes, they can be the first signs of disease, actually. So some common ones, there's a condition called...
And that's why the covert team use Iridology. Yeah, and overspend it all to blind targets, to cause eye symptoms. Realised TIs, it's all linked to healthcare, linked to the medical industry, linked to neuroscience, when they're coming out with the rubbish I've heard today about vocabulary skills and approaching people and conversation skills. Work it all out, rather trolling us on social media, rather breaking and using cybersecurity to criminally, illegally look at all our communications and listen to us 24 hours a day. This is what the local council's weapons are when we use these covert operators. Track and trace targeting system. and using cyber security and professionals like the exposed CID, exposed DCIs, who think they're at the top of the careers, top of the game, and train the youngsters and hire and employ cyber hackers. Like we've been talking about little Penfold. He used to work at TNT. Don't know how true that is. We have to identify him.
These are fatty deposits around the eye. We've got a good picture of it here.
I call him Penfold because I recognised a covert operator who was filming me when I was driving many years ago. And he's this little Harry Potter lookalike, a little Penfold. You know, ever watched Ginger Mouse? Little small stumpy guy. And normal nerds you get, normal geeks you get. That's the way to identify him. Don't know what his name is, but I'll just call him Penfold.
A sort of yellowy whitish lump up in the corner as well. Exactly, yeah, these are fatty deposits and could be a sign of high cholesterol. If you're really astute, you might see that slightly white ring on the edge of the iris there as well. That's called a corneal.
And that's why we watch Targets, going shopping, see what food they eat, and that's why they film other people and try and edit it all and try and make out their targets, that the target eating rubbish, and that target's got health problems, or is developing health problems because they're not eating right, sleeping right, living right, or working right. Yeah, they make up loads of bullshit linked to healthcare because they're desperate to target TIs and put them and register them into the local council. That's why I'm exposing it all, so they can't get to me or to my mother. And I think they've got to my brother. They've covered it all up. Yeah, just how disgusting the governments are when we put in psychiatrists are, mental health administrators are, and social workers are. Yeah, they try and break families up. They try and destroy each member of the family and try and destroy the memories of their family life by all the MK Ultra's sub-projects linked to disassociating the mind, dissecting the mind, and doing deep patterning, brain mapping, and trying dysfunctional targets away from their community, from their family, and from their old friends. All about mind control. Yeah, that's what the quest is in neuroscience. When they've got it in for people, they do the dark side of it all and try and break targets' brains down, and try and break the family lives down, try and break the friendships down, and try and isolate targets and alienate targets, and put them away in different cities, different villages, different countries. That's why you hear stories of TIs, of people going missing all over the world. There's 8 million people go missing each year, and a lot of it all is linked to the Dark Zone program. And they destroy their memories, and then give them drugs, whether it's the street drugs or whether it's the government drugs. Destroy the target's mind, and then make them disappear, and then they're lost. And then the police cover it up as a missing person.
Can be a normal sign of aging. That's due to fatty deposits as well. But in younger age groups, it could be a sign of high cholesterol. Another eye sign that I want people to be aware of is jaundice. This is yellowing of the whites of the eyes, and that can be a sign there's a problem with your liver. Potentially, you might have a problem with your blood cells as well.
They're trying to say, I've got yellow jaundice, and I ain't. Yeah, so who they're filming? They're filming other people. That's yellow jaundice, when it's all yellow.
Certain conditions like Overt syndrome that some people have, that can precipitate and cause jaundice like this. You might have yellowing of the skin in conjunction with it as well. Now, jaundice in children and adults is always abnormal and always should be investigated. Could be a sign of hepatitis, could be a sign of something like liver cancer potentially. But in newborn babies, it's a very normal thing, and it can. And
like I said, they're making databases, so whatever TIs they're abusing, they're capturing 24 hours a day, and if they can't use it against the TI, they just edit it all, put it into a database, and use it against someone else in the future. That's what the training's all about as well. and the constant capturing, recording, and collating of data. That includes all the indoor see-through wall technology, trap and trace, act on in people's bodies, and watching the activities via these see-through wall technologies, thermology, infrasound, ultrasound, X-ray, and microwave directed energy weapons. Yeah, it's all being put into a database by the government abusers, council abusers, and the mercenaries they hire to do all the overt and covert surveillance operations for them.
Should just settle down by itself. The times we get it checked out in newborn babies, particularly, is if it lasts longer than 3 weeks. You should be speaking to a healthcare person.
Yeah, I think we had that for the first week of our interesting. How about hydration? Does how thirsty we feel tell us anything about our bodies?
Interestingly, urine colour and volume can do. So the volume of urine you're producing, the colour it is, could potentially be a sign of your...
Again, TIs, as we all know, they watch us 24 hours a day, watch us going to a toilet, wherever we are, in our everyday lives, whether at work, in the community, in our family homes, our own homes. Yeah, they watch us going to the toilet. They're capturing all our toilet stalls, capturing all our toilet streams, urine streams. And if they can't use it against us, they use it against other people in the future because they put it all onto a database.
Hydration status, but also illness as well. So ideally, urine should be nice and light, straw coloured. You should be passing urine several times a day.
And when they're desperate, they're going to the database. When they think they can get caught on targets, on community members, they're going to the database and use other people's activities, other people's bodies, and other people's symptoms, illnesses, and disabilities, and struggles.
If you are passing lots of urine, though, it could be behavioural. Maybe you're just drinking too much. Could be a sign of type 1 diabetes because the sugar in the urine is drawing out fluid with it, especially if it's associated with thirst or weight loss. And if you're going a lot and it's uncomfortable, it could be a sign of a urine infection. Now, as the urine gets darker and darker, again, that could be a sign that you're not getting enough fluid in, but potentially could be a sign of conditions like liver disease and even pancreatic cancer. Going even darker still, and we might have an indication on screen there actually, we're talking about Coca-Cola coloured urine. Now that can be a sign of liver disease. It could be a sign of hemolysis, which is breakdown of blood cells. That can happen sometimes. Could even be a sign of kidney inflammation. That definitely should be checked out.
And skin, can that be an indicator?
Yeah, loads of things can manifest in the skin. I haven't got time to go through more, but bruising is one I want to pick up on. If you've got lots of bruising that's easily happening in unusual places, particularly if you've got bleeding gums associated with it, could be a sign of leukemia potentially. Could also be a sign of a condition called ITP, which is a response to a viral infection, and these conditions drop your platelet levels, which is why you bruise so much.
I hope you're listening to your body. You sound like a bit hoarse this morning.
Oh, I'm just getting over a little bit of a chesty cough.
A pleasure.
Thanks, Raj. Some really good take-home points there.
Dolphins hung out in family groups.
So as TIs know, that's why we're exposing it all. The targeting system is linked to the medical world, linked to neuroscience, linked to the NHS, linked to healthcare, social workers, mental health administrators, and twisted psychiatrists, psychologists, sociologists, human behavioural scientists, and they're all trying to cover up the system and trying to criminal practice, illegal research, hidden case study making, workplace, community, comparison trials, and they're all doing it for careers, for money, to boost their bank balances, and for those covert operators they hire, they're all rogue covert operators, rogue surveillance monitoring teams, rogue ex-government abusers, ex-government servants, because obviously they're trained in the armed forces, in the navy, in the police, in the intelligence communities, agencies, or learnt it themselves through others passing information onto them. And they're training community members, youngsters, juniors, teenagers, adults who've got their money and jumped on the bandwagon, and they're not doing it for the love of community members, for the love of TIs. They're just doing it so they can finance their bank, their finances, their own finances. Because why would they want to do it every day to someone? Why would they want to do it week after week, month after month, year after year? And for some long-term TIs, over a decade, over 2 decades, over 3 decades. Why would they want to do it to TIs' family members, their mothers, their fathers, their sons, their daughters, uncles, aunties, siblings, cousins? Because they're going out to cause harm. Yeah, they're going out to cause disabilities, injuries. They're going out to radiate people to death, slow kill. That's many TIs have been exposing over the decades and generations. And you need to go and do your own research. Research, it says research the system. Research all these organisations that TIs talk about. Go and research Dr. Peter Breggin. Yeah, there's loads of rogue, criminal practicing, evil, lost souls who work in governments. They're covering up the system. So everyone digest it all, psychoanalyse it all, and TIs keep it real. When you're under brain manipulation, or if some of our TIs are fraudsters or perpetrators, and they're slagging other TIs off, realise that as a TI, they shouldn't be doing that. And if they've got a problem with someone, they should have the conversation skills, the interaction skills, to sort it out, one-on-one, face-to-face, instead of going off in a tantrum, blocking TIs, and then go around standing that TI with loads of misinformation. And TIs have got to watch out for all your social interactions. Yeah, these cybersecurity and professionals in governments, in your local councils, and our perpetrators who've learnt it all in the armed forces, in the navy, in the government occupations, and also trained community members how to do cybercrime and how to infiltrate TI communities, infiltrate the targets in the local community by doing Psyops in the community, in workplaces, and on the social media interactions. Yeah, you have to realise and try and work it out if in-house bickering starts and other TIs are standing other TIs. Realise, are they perpetrators? Are they fraudsters? Or have they been manipulated by the Psyops and by their targeting? So everyone, even the government people, the local council abusers who are listening to this blog, I'm onto the system, and as the campaign continues, I've often, what I can, reporting it to the UK authorities and to unions and to workplace managers, supervisors, but it still continues because they're trying to cover it all up, trying to help the covert operators from not being identified, trying to help the local community members from not being identified. If they were so confident, if they had their vocabulary skills, they'd approach me and say sorry and pay compensation. But because it's gone on for that long, they're two-faced, they're too dishonest, untrustworthy, and not brave enough, not confident enough to admit they did wrong. That includes all the NHS, all the council workers, so judge and jury, social workers, healthcare abusers, NHS boys and girls of names, to all the armed forces boys and girls, to all the dominant security, and to whoever they've manipulated and nobbled to turn them against me, my mother and my brother, and to whoever they approached to manipulate, to do illegal, fabricated, criminally planned, criminally masterminds, scripts for them to be witness makers, statement makers, and to be phone callers to the targeting system linked to social services, linked to healthcare. So I'm warning them, you will not use anything against me. You will not use no neighbours, you will not use any ex-work companies, you will not use works managers, you will not use co-workers past and present, and you will not use any employment agencies, and you will not use the Department of Work and Pensions, the Job Centre, go for court against me. And you can't use anybody against my mother who's done nothing wrong, but you're watching her like a criminal. Watching her, yeah, like a criminal. And that's disgusting when she worked for the council. And retired. And they've been targeting her since she retired. So I'm making sure Coventry Judge and Jury, Coventry Healthcare, NHS, and mental health administrators, and the Adley Care Home system in Coventry can't touch my mother. And if they do, I want an investigation into where they got the evidence from. So everybody digest it all, psychoanalyse it all, and TRs, keep it real. Have a good day.